Hey there, Newlyweds! We are back with another episode in our vendor Q&A series, and this week we are talking wedding venues. In today's modern times, the entire world is a potential venue when determining the perfect place to get married. Your venue walkthrough should leave you with a lasting connection to the space that allows you to envision celebrating in it with the people that you love most. Understanding that all venues work a little bit differently, we've compiled a list of must-ask questions to help make venue scouting a breeze for you guys. First up is, what dates do you have available? If you don't already have your heart set on a specific date, ask your venue what dates they have available within a certain month. Being open to a date range rather than a specific date at a venue will give you a higher chance of actually getting your dream venue. Keep in mind that opting for a Sunday or a weekday also usually results in a significant price difference. What is your max capacity? So personally, I always advise that clients do a rough draft of their guest list before they go out and view venues. You don't have to list out each of your individual guests, but you do have to have a conversation with your partner about how many people you think that you would both like to have celebrate with you so that you guys can come up with an honest estimate. Many venues actually do have a strict policy regarding their occupation, so if you think that your guest count is going to be too high, then you might want to consider looking at a different venue or consider trimming your guest list. How long are me and my vendor team allowed to be on premises? Knowing how long the space is actually yours to decorate and occupy is important. You want to make sure that you and your vendor team have not only enough time to set up, but to also break down before the event is over, as well as clean up. Many venues actually charge an hourly fee if you guys go over your allotted time, and that can add up quickly, especially if you didn't even know about the fee until it's your actual wedding date and now you're on a strict time limit. So ask these questions early on so that you guys can prepare accordingly and just already be ready to roll. What does the venue cost? Make sure that you know the actual total rental cost and all that is included within the rental. Ask to see any other fees or surcharges that are added onto the rental price, such as service charges, gratuity, cleaning faces, things like that, just in case you're not seeing them up front and you don't know to ask. Is special event insurance required? While it is considered common practice for most venues to require that couples have some sort of event insurance, it does not have to be stressful or overwhelming getting it. So it's usually between about $150 to $300, and websites like WedSafe and theeventhelper.com can make it super easy to get. What is required to book my wedding here? We want to know that you guys are well aware of the venue's process on holding your date. We don't need any surprises once you guys have your heart set. Most venues do require a deposit to secure your event fee. You should also be aware of your payment schedules and when you need to have your balances paid by, when your contract needs to be signed by, and how many walkthroughs are included within your contract. Is a damage deposit required? Well, this is a set, typically returnable fee that's determined by the venue only to be used in case damage occurs throughout your wedding. So not all venues require this, but if yours does, then ask how much the fee is and how it is to be paid, as well as how quickly you can expect it to be returned back to you, assuming that you guys have no damage during your event. Can we see a sample contract? So guys, always read your contracts before signings. Venue contracts can be super long and full of technical legal jargon, but that doesn't mean that they're not important to read. So you guys really need to take your time to look over it, ask to see a copy of the contract way before it's time to sign, so that you can comfortably read through it at your own pace, make sure that you know everything that's detailed in it, have time to stop and write out your questions about things that you don't understand, as well as make a list of things that you would potentially like to change around. Because the negotiating power really is in your hands, guys, especially before you sign. So if there's anything that you would like to try to see if you can get within there, that is the time to ask. Are candles, confetti, sparklers, bubbles, etc. allowed? If you have your heart set on a sparkler exit or on having hundreds of candles line your aisle, make sure that you get these things approved before you book your venue. Things like candles and bubbles are often considered fire hazards or slip hazards, and if your heart is set on having them, you don't want to be disappointed after you've already signed your contract. So ask ahead of time so that you can decide accordingly. Are we required to work with specific vendors? Having a venue that has preferred vendors can be a huge perk to using their space. It allows you to work with a team of vendors that already works together. They already know the venue, they already know their staff, and that usually together results in a really smooth run of show. However, it can also result in having a limited number of vendor choices and possibly additional fees because your choices are limited depending on which vendors are available to you. Also, be sure to ask if there are additional fees if you guys do choose to bring in a non-listed vendor. Because just because your venue does have preferred vendors does not mean that they do not allow outside vendors on site. Is a wedding planner required to book this venue? So sometimes you will run into a venue that does require at least a day of planner to be involved, just to help streamline the planning process and to make sure that everything is coordinated for the actual day of. If this is something that they require, ask that the venue either offer suggestions for planners that work at their venue often, because they host so many events, guys. They are the real contact people. They know literally every type of vendor that you can know. So don't be afraid to ask your venue, yes, but other vendors as well for vendor recommendations. Let your vendors lead you from one to the other to simplify your process. A good wedding planner can make your wedding a breeze to plan and a dream to attend, and it allows you guys to feel like a guest at your own celebration. So they're totally worth it. So ask for recommendations the venue can make for you. Is there a space on site for us to get ready? And will they be available to us throughout our day? So if your venue actually does offer getting ready suites, then that's amazing and it's an awesome bonus for you guys. It'll save you time trying to find hotels or like prep at home sites for getting ready for all the photos and videos that occur during that time. Now, if they do have them, just go ahead and ask to see them in person so that you can make sure that you vibe with the style and you can envision yourself getting ready there. What is your cancellation policy? While most venues do have a non-refundable deposit to secure your date, with COVID being here, it's now more crucial than ever to know that your venue can be and will be flexible as different situations come up. So ask what their cancellation policies are and how much money you're entitled to if you guys do decide to cancel. Also be sure to ask how they are handling couples that have had to reschedule due to safety concerns regarding COVID. Make sure that you have all this information in writing before you sign your contract, as it's important to know your options should you need to make unexpected change. Just ask our 2020 couples. Can we have our rehearsal here? So ask if you can have a short rehearsal at your venue, because not all venues do offer this. If your venue is known for hosting multiple weddings on a weekend, it's unlikely that the spaces will be available the night before your wedding. If that's the case, you want to know this sooner rather than later so that you can plan accordingly, make other arrangements, and have a rehearsal set up and planned properly. When will we have our final venue walkthrough and who needs to be there? Make sure you know when and who will need to be there for the final venue walkthrough. If your venue does require multiple vendors to come in that you're going to be using, this could be hard to coordinate logistically, so you want to know again sooner rather than later, because you have to get on all of these people's calendars and get them to come in. Typically, venues do like to have vendors come in for just a site inspection and visit if they have not been to the venue before, but it's not always necessary and it's not always needed. So ask your venue how they typically handle it and what their process is on that so that you can coordinate with your vendors in advance and make sure that everything goes smoothly. Are tables and chairs included in our venue rental? If this is true for you and your venue, then that is a huge boost to your budget. If not, it's important to note this so that you guys can then budget accordingly for your rentals. Also ask if linens are included, glassware, things like that, so that you can get a full idea of what all the venue is going to be provided for you, and then what else you might need to rent from other people, whether that be your caterers or a separate rental company. Is parking available on site? So parking is really important not only for your guests, but also for your venue. So please make sure that you ask where the parking lots are, but also where the loading docks and zones are. This is going to help your vendors in the long run. Also, be sure to ask how many parking spots are available to your vendors to ensure that there are enough spots for both them and your guests. If parking is not provided by your venue, then you should ask them for a list of nearby parking garages or shuttle services that you can book for your guests. What is your cleanup policy? Ask if cleaning is included in the price of the venue rental or if it's at an additional charge. Cleaning might not be provided by the venue at all. It needs to be something that you hire a separate cleaning company for. So getting the details can help you get a jump start on that. Are there noise restrictions on site? Is there a cutoff time for amplified music? This is going to help you determine how long your party can actually go for, and it'll kind of help you structure your day as well. This is going to be especially important for venues that are located within residential areas, and even more important for couples whose wedding priorities are things like having an all-night dance party, going late into the night, having an after party, things like that. Because if that is the case and their venue is located within a residential area, likely chances are that there are going to be noise ordinances as you go later into the night, which means having to cut music down earlier. Who will be our point person at the venue as we plan our wedding? As you guys can understand, I'm sure, creating a good rapport with the on-site venue point person who is going to be helping you plan your event is key for having it go off without a hitch. Make sure that the person that you guys have been dealing with throughout the planning process will actually be the person who will be on site for the day of, so that you guys can just begin building a relationship and that just have comfort dealing with each other. You don't want to actually have it be your wedding day and you find out that you're dealing with a complete stranger and this is your first time meeting them. Do you offer an on-site venue coordinator, and will there be a staff member on site throughout the entirety of our event? In order to help you understand the role of the venue coordinator on your wedding day and throughout the process, this is an important question to know. Not all venue coordinators are the same, but as a general principle, they strictly help you with things that are related to the venue. So if it's a wedding planning task that's outside of venue relations, then they are not involved in it. And that can really be tricky for a lot of couples when they don't fully understand what exact tasks are included with their venue coordinator, and they often get them confused. Also, be sure to get the contact information for the person who will be on site on the day of to monitor all the building details to avoid any surprises and have someone on site to have your back. Do you require a representative to be present throughout the entirety of our event? Some venues do want a representative to be on site, whether that be your event planner, a coordinator, a family member, your friend, whoever, to stay until the very end of the night to do a final event walkthrough with them. And basically, this just means that you guys are walking through to make sure that everything is as it was before you got there. Nothing's been damaged, nothing's been broken, and they can officially close down for the night knowing that everything is good. Where are the outlets / breakers, and are there generators required and or available? You might have several sources drawing large amounts of power on your wedding day, so this is a good one to know. In terms of your DJs, your band, really anything that needs to plug in and be set up, so you kind of need to know the power layout, how everything works together, and ask your venue if they actually have that floor plan and that layout of how those power systems work. Which layouts do you see most commonly in this space? This is helpful because it allows you to picture how the space works best and how it works for other people. This way you can stop trying to reinvent the wheel, just see what you like, take bits and pieces of what works, and try to come together to find your own venue layout that works for you. Does your staff offer any tear down or cleanup services? So this is really important to know because this will help you determine whether or not you need to bring in a separate cleaning company to help you guys when it's time to strike, as event professionals say. And basically a strike just means that it's time to clear the space. It's a hard out time that you guys absolutely have to be out of the venue by. And knowing whether or not your venue staff can actually help you at that time is critical because it'll determine how much manpower you need, who's going to be involved, whether or not you need to hire a separate company to come in and help you, and will kind of just, again, help you really dictate your day and figure out what your schedule is going to be. What time do our guests need to be off-site? Our vendors, these are usually 2 separate times, but knowing what these are will help you better communicate with both your vendors and your guests. This is helpful for having your DJ play that last dance song, giving those signals that the party is winding down so that your guests can begin understanding it's time for them to leave. And that way, once you guys have worked together to get your guests out the door, the vendors start getting ready for breakdown and strike so that they can hurry up, grab all of their things, reset the venue as best as possible, and then be out the door. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching another episode with us. Please let me know if you have any comments, any questions, anything that you would like to share in the comments. Please give me your feedback. I love hearing what you guys think about the videos. As also, I am still developing my course, my wedding planning course that is aimed to help you guys feel like you are one of my wedding planning clients. I want you guys super comfortable, ready to ask questions, ready to be informed. So please let me know how I can help you. Let me know in the comments, on TikTok, on Instagram, really wherever you guys follow me. Just give me some feedback.
what you would like to know, what questions you have, whatever it may be. No question is too small. Talk to us down below, and I think that's it for this video, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.